Hi, viewers. I was sitting here at work. Instead of thinking about work, I was thinking about my Triumph GT6 and things I still need to do to get it finally on the road. Endless list that keeps expanding, especially because it's winter now and it's not as urgent since I can't get on the road anyway. And it made me realize that I've never done a real introductory video. I kept putting it off for when I'd finally give it a drive and give that first inaugural video of its first inaugural drive. But time is ticking, and so I decided to do this first video, introduce my Triumph GT6 to you since it's one of my coolest cars. And I'm going to run home now and take a few more videos of it sitting in the garage to show to you so I can explain it.
On Facebook
Sorry, no
Messenger.
driving yet,
the owner
but
had
that's
died
to come.
and his heirs, his brother, was selling them. He had a whole pile of Triumphs that he'd collected over the years, mostly Spitfires, but two other GT6s, and they wanted to sell them all in a package for $5,000. There's mine, and I would have loved to take them all, but I couldn't. I just didn't have space for them, and a few of them were pretty stripped up. He was using them for parts for the other cars. So I settled on the most beautiful one of the bunch, my yellow, jasmine yellow, 1969 GT6. No rust, original California car. He had parked it in 1992. He drove it for about a year after bringing it from California, and then parked it, and it didn't move since. He was planning to do some upgrades that he never got to. So that's all on me. It's perfect condition. I posted it online on a Triumph site, and everyone was amazed that there was no rust and how good it was. So Triumph GT6s are hot right now. They were developed by Triumph. Originally, Triumph's first real hit sports car was a Spitfire, which was a light, small, convertible four-cylinder. Then they wanted to enter, they had a works department, they wanted to enter Le Mans, so they needed a hardtop, and they dropped a six-cylinder into the Spitfire chassis and put a hardtop on, and did really well. And one thing led to another, and they ended up developing the GT6, which was called the poor man's E-Type, because it was less expensive than the Jaguar, but a lot more fancy than Spitfire. The interior trim was a lot better, and it had the six-cylinder engine. It was a hit at first. There were three generations. Mine's 69, which is technically called Mark II. After that, before that was Mark I, and then Mark III had some styling changes. But in terms of performance and driving, there's not a whole lot of difference, and they're all about equally desirable by collectors. I personally like the older style. The Mark III has a chopped off rear on the back. They sold pretty well, but then when emissions regulations came along, Triumph dropped it. They kept the Spitfire going, but people then forgot about the GT6 for a long time, and it fell out of favor, and most of them rusted away, and so there are only a few left, and the prices are shooting up. I got mine for pennies, basically, and now I just saw one just like it sold for $35,000 online on Bring a Trailer. So I'm not selling mine, but I'm happy I bought it. Now it's time to start her up.
Hi, here I am late at night with my Triumph GT6. I've been slaving away, trying to get the ignition right, and there was no spark, and I worked, and then rebuilding the carbs. This car hasn't ran since I bought it, so I think everything's all set. This is going to be the inaugural start, which if it does, it's like bringing something back to life, and I'll be excited. So, dun 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 dun. I always get nervous before. Of course not. Oh my God! Woo! It lives. Sort of. Well, it started. Whoa! First time in like. Oh, wow. That was a start. Oh, it's smoky in there. It sort of lives. I guess I'm happy. That's something. Woo! Smoke. Well, so there you have it. Brief introduction, finally, to my GT6. I didn't want it to feel left out. And more to come. There are a lot of interesting projects that I've never tried before that I'm going to post. I am refinishing the dash right now, and I'll do the wiring loom. I'll post videos on those. And all set to have it ready to go in spring as soon as the snow melts. That's going to be the first car out of the garage, drive around the block. All right, can't wait. Until then, stay tuned. Bye.